Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that then. Why I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Bukasha here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to youtube.com/Man Hour right now. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Let's try to double the likes of what we normally get over there on the YouTube page. But if you haven't joined yet, become a member over there on the YouTube page as well. Simply click on the join button. As little as 99 cents a month, you get one after show a week. For $2.99, you get all access to all the after shows, plus merchandise discounts. $5.99 a month, you get a free t-shirt after 6 months of service, plus all the other perks. But the $9.99 deal, guys, you get a hoodie. Every year you are part of the Man Hour Nation. So we do have a sports show to talk about here tonight. We're going to break down the AFC West. We are going to talk a little bit of basketball, a little bit of Knicks. Well, a fan got suspended for spitting on Trae Young, so we'll talk about that. And the Chicago Bears are for sale. Yeah, you guys heard me right. Chicago Bears are for sale. So let's go ahead and welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brandon B.C. Combs at manhour_Combs. Combs, what's going on tonight, bud?
Oh, sorry. I was going on to put in my bid for the Bears. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. What's
Bidding
going on,
at
Buck?
$2, man. $2.
Yeah, hey, look, I figured if I go, $2 a month for the next 185 years, I might be able to still miss out on the bid, but at least I get my name in the hat, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then like once your name is out there, man, people are going to start cluttering to you, and the Man Hour will simply explode, right?
Yeah,
it's like, that Brandon Combs guy is the owner of the Bears.
Yeah, and then we'll say, hey, look, people got to tune in this Man Hour. You got an owner of the Bears, you got an owner of the Packers,
right?
Like then you got to go buy stock in the Chiefs, man. We could have a part owner of the Chiefs. Like
I think I'd have more. I would have more possibility of buying stock into the Chargers than the Chiefs, to be honest with you. But,
so Michelle goes and gets dinner tonight, right? I gotta tell you this real quick. She goes and gets dinner, and she gets Popeye's chicken, and I love chicken. I told her, she's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I've had a taste for chicken." She's like, "All right, I'll grab Popeye's." So I bring my plate downstairs, and I'm getting ready for the show, and she calls me up, and she goes, "Is your chicken bleeding?" And I'm like, "Bleeding?" I'm like, "I don't know why." She's like, "You didn't eat it yet?" I was like, "I ate the leg." She goes, "Was it bleeding?" I said, I don't know. I ate it. she goes, "Well, what about the big piece that you got?" And I was like, "All right, let me check." So I cut into it, and I'm like, I mean, it's undercooked for sure. I mean, it's definitely pink. And she goes, "All right." So she comes downstairs, and she goes, "All right, I called them up. I got to bring the chicken back." And I just look at her, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, I ate it. She was like, "It was undercooked." I was like, I know, but I'm fat and I'm hungry. Yeah. So I ate it.
Michelle says pink chicken puke.
I couldn't look, and then I went up and got more. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I used to eat pink chicken like all the time, and I'm still alive. I'm still kicking.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've eaten worse stuff for sure. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we were college-age men. We ate pizza that's been on the counter for at least a week minimum.
Yeah.
And if it was hard, you stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it softens it up a little bit.
It's a good thing we're not on the after hours, man, because I would have just said something. Good thing I bit my tongue.
You definitely bit your tongue. But speaking of biting tongues here, the Cubs are ripping people's souls out right now, man. They are up in first place. I mean, you can go ahead and pound that chest. I mean, you called it.
Look, I mean, they're going to be an up and down team. I mean, this is the ups. June is going to tell the story. June is going to really tell the Cubs where they stand, because the month of June for the Chicago Cubs is absolutely terrifying if you look at it from a schedule standpoint. Okay, so the Cubs have to play the Padres. The Cubs have to play. Let me see here. Let me get this up real quick. The Cubs play the Padres to start, and then they play the. Where did it go? I just had it up. All right, here we go. My bad. Sorry, guys. So the Cubs play they start off with the Padres in June. Then they got the Giants. Then they get the Padres again. Then they get the Cardinals. Then they get the Mets. Then they get the Marlins and the Indians. Then they get the Dodgers and the Brewers. That's a tough schedule in June.
It is. So
it's going to tell the story if they can show up. They've been showing up in big games. They've been showing up in big series so far. Well, since April 17th, they've got the best offense in baseball. They've got one of the best records in baseball. They're playing all right. They just need to continue it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know who's not hot, though?
Mr. Torrey Anderson. At man
and his Milwaukee Brewers.
And his Milwaukee Brewers.
I was going to say, and as you say that, look at the Brewers' schedule in June. It is easy. They've got a one game with the Tigers to start June. They've got the Diamondbacks. They've got the Reds, the Pirates, the Reds again, the Rockies, Diamondbacks again, Rockies, Cubs.
Yeah. So if the Cubs have a tough June, which it looks like they very well could, if they have a tough June and the Brewers have a good June, I mean, they need to start hitting, though. But if the Brewers have a good June, they'll be all right.
Did you see the batting average leader thing I said?
I did. I think your third highest batting average is like 198.
197. Colton Wong's our leading hitter at 268. What is
bad,
going on?
Well,
but it's like I said,
injuries,
well,
man.
That and I called it at the beginning of the year. That was going to be the biggest issue. Was trying to put offense together.
Is Locaine back yet? Or is he still on the IL?
Locane's back. Yelich is back.
Yep.
So
Yelich is back too, huh?
Yeah, Yelich has been back for 5 days now and not back on the DL. So.
And he's still not on the leading batting average. Yikes!
No, because he was out. Well, he was out. He was out for 3 weeks. He was only hitting 115 or some crap when he went on the IL.
That's how Jock Peterson was. Jock Peterson was hitting 168 when he went on the IL. He's now batting up at 270. So he's been tearing it up since he came back from the IL. I mean, there's nothing saying that, especially a guy like Christian Yelich, who's a much better hitter than Jock Peterson is throughout his career. It's not over yet, man. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith.
Yelich does have that average up after coming off the DL. His average is up to 250, so he's been hitting since he came off the DL.
Yeah,
because he was under 200.
He is also one for 4, so that is a skewed stat there, right?
I was joking around with you earlier, and I was like, "Hey, let's look at the standings." And I highlighted the Cubs. Over the last 10, they're 8-2, and the Brewers are 4-6 or something. And then I'm looking at the run differential. Now the Cubs are a plus 22, and I believe the Brewers are a minus 14 or something like that. But then I kept looking at after I sent that, I looked at the picture again, and I'm like, holy crap. The Brewers are already at a plus, or I'm sorry, the Padres are already at a plus 80.
80.
That is insane.
That is just mashing.
It's not even June yet. It's not even, plus 80 is ridiculous.
That is.
And for whatever reason, the Brewers have their number.
There's a division out there too where the top 3 teams in that division
it's the West.
all have a negative run differential.
That's the NL. That's the NL East, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
No.
Yeah. The NL.
Yeah, it is the NL East. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The NL East for what we all thought was going to be one of the best divisions in baseball is just kind of went. Right down
the AL West too. The Oakland A's are in first place by a game over the Astros. The Oakland A's have a negative 11 run differential. The Houston Astros are in second. They're the only team in the division with a positive run differential, and they are at plus 55. and they're not even in first place.
No, but that's where I talk about, like, you look at the pitching, and we talk about the no-hitters and that stuff. That's where I think just it's not making a lot of difference when the players hit the ball, but I think it's giving pitchers a little bit more spin, a little drop on their ball, whatever. I think it has made a difference for the pitchers because we're seeing guys, unless it's just the game continue its upward trend of guys don't really give a crap if they strike out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Michelle coming in with our nephew chiming in here and says he loves me. And then Buck says hi, Evan, and Evan says his name's supposed to be capitalized, Buck. So shout out to my boy Evan. Evan's only 6. Evan's only 6, and he's telling you how to spell.
Yeah, well, welcome to my world. That's why speech to text is such a powerful tool here. But let's get into some basketball talk here. I mean, NBA basketball is happening, so we need to sprinkle a little bit of
the NBA is still playing?
Drama happening. So there was the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks are playing a series. This is the first playoff series for the Knicks, and who knows how long. It has been a long time. But a fan spit on Trae Young when he was inbounding the ball. The spit came from like the third or fourth row. It went over 50 Cent and landed on Trae Young. This fan has since been banned from Madison Square Garden for spitting on Trae Young. Tori, do you think that is enough for this fan?
No. Technically, that's assault.
That's assault, brother.
That's assault, brother. So they technically could press charges on him, but I think the ban's enough. I mean, in 3 years, are they really going to remember? I mean, they may have the guy's picture up somewhere. So I don't know. How do you enforce that? Like,
right? They
could grow a beard, or I don't know. I haven't seen the incident. I saw the popcorn incident in Washington, but
yeah.
But
like anytime you spit on somebody, that for one, that's just gross. But like, what else is like coming out of that body,
dude?
Like,
I'm telling you right now. I've always said it. I've said it my entire life. It's never happened to me. But if somebody spit on me, bro, we're fighting.
Oh, 100%.
I am throwing haymakers if you spit at me. Like that's what's happening. So the fact that he spits on Trae Young and whatever, almost hits 50 Cent. I almost would have preferred it to hit 50 Cent, but hey. But anyway, I don't understand the mentality. I don't understand what fans are doing. I was watching fans in Houston during the Houston and Dodgers series fighting in the stands because talking trash to one another and start fighting. Yeah. I've never understood it. I've never understood why fans, for one, feel like they need to get involved in the game and interact with the players like that. Like, if you want to talk trash, if you want to, I'm all for that. I sit in the bleachers at Wrigley Field all the time, and I'm constantly taunting whatever outfielder's closest.
Right.
But it's like, I don't ever take it personal. I don't ever spit on them. I don't ever throw anything at them. I'm just out there to have a good time and have fun. You can do that without being an asshole. Well, and that's what that guy is.
I think the biggest issue is that we have all been clammed up for so long. I mean, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 33 weeks later, right, or whatever it's been, like, we are finally starting to like get back to normal life, and I think there's so much like aggravation that is happening in the world that is like causing us to do stuff that we wouldn't normally do.
That's the other thing. You finally get to sit back in the stands, and now you have to watch the rest of your life from your couch because you can't get back in the...
I'm never going anywhere again.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
That does remind me. That remind me to tell the story. I have a story for the after show about, and just say the spitting incident, and then I'll remember what I need to say.
Did Trae Young bring that up, that he got spit on? Like, how did that? Because when I watched the video, so I saw the video, and it looked like Trae Young didn't even react. Like, he didn't even know that it happened.
Mean, like, you are fourth quarter, you are sweaty. Like, you don't really probably know what is happening. But if you see the girl like sees it come flying, and she's like, right, and she like flies out of the way, and
it reminds me of that Seinfeld episode.
but if you know that is there, you will see it like you'll see it like fly like out of the top of the screen and then like down. And like I don't know if it hit Trae Young, but you could definitely see somebody speeding at him. So like it's stupid at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was wondering, like, how did they pinpoint who did it? If Trae Young didn't even know what happened, like, who said, "Hey, Trae Young got spit on" and made it national news?
Well,
like,
it was like the camera was zoomed in on him because it was the inbound play. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Somebody that was watching golf, like, oh, this guy coming to be a foul.
A viewer called it in.
Yeah, a viewer called it in. So we are going to take our first break of the night, guys. Here. That we're going to get into some sports headlines here on the other side of the break. We got some Julio Jones trade happening. We got a crazy play in baseball happen today as well, and then of course the Bears and Chargers are possibly up for trade. But the biggest show of the night is we are breaking down the AFC West. So we do have the Denver Chargers coming up here in about 15 minutes here on the Man Hour, guys. So sit back and relax. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with a couple friends as well. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding. Protection you need when nature strikes.
Welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buck, Kajlaw, and Brandon Combs, and Tori Anderson tonight. If you're going to miss any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and of course, iHeartRadio, or simply head over to youtube.com/Man Hour. Click, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon as we upload the clips each and every day. So if you just want to watch a certain part of the show, I title it, and you're like, hey, I want to know what the Kansas City Chiefs record is going to be this year. And when Buck says 17-0, I want to tell him how stupid he is. So you can simply go over to the YouTube page and just check that out, and we have a great time. So we're going to get into some sports headlines here before we get into the AFC West talk here. So Combs, there was a play today in Major League Baseball that many people say you don't even do this in Little League. So I'm going to bring this play up here on the screen for the viewers on YouTube because the key here is there are 2 outs.
Yeah.
There are 2
so
outs.
if the third out is made at first base, if the third out is made at first base, no runs count that score.
Yeah.
But this is what Javi Baez does. I don't know how he does it, but every time he is on the base paths, this is what this guy does. There's a reason why they call him El Mago, which is the magician in Spanish. So this guy is amazing. I love watching Javi Baez. I wish he could, get over the Alfonso Soriano type at bats where he swings at balls that are 75 feet out of the zone. But
bounce
other
3
than
feet
that,
in front of the plate.
Yeah, but the guy is he's a magician with the glove. He's a magician on the bases. And that right there is the epitome of what Javi Baez is and what he does.
Yeah, and this is kind of a staple what the Pittsburgh Pirates season is going to be like. They lack so much baseball IQ. So this play screams lack of baseball knowledge, lack of their knowing the situation.
You know what's funny?
It's horrible.
Is after the game they're interviewing Javier Baez, and they said, Javi, what were you thinking when you were running through? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I just didn't want him to tag me. I was going to make him chase me down. He's like, and then I thought that if he would just tag first, I would be out, but I'm not sure if that's the rule or not. So even Javi Baez didn't know that was the rule. He was just trying to make the guy get him. So it's funny to me that Major League Baseball players don't, because I'm sitting there watching the game, which, if my boss is listening right now, Nick, I know we were in our meeting at that point, and I may or may not, and neither can confirm nor deny that I had the game on the computer while we were in our meeting. So if you're listening, but anyway, I was watching that play as it took place, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, run back to first and just touch the base. What are you doing? Yeah. Oh my God, he's going to chase him down. Oh my God, he threw the ball. Oh my God. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell just happened?
That's the thing. Like, he could have literally still, even chasing him down, back down, would just have to walk up to him and tag him. Because if Javi would have went around him, he'd have been out of the baselines anyways.
Yeah. Well, if you go to the right of the baseline, there is no baseline to the right side, like on the outside of the diamond. So technically, he could have banana peeled it out.
Oh, there is. There is.
Not on the outside of the baseline of the diamond when you're on. So when you're running to first or third, you can run outside as far as you want.
No,
it is just running from first to second.
First base, there is definitely a baseline. You have to stay within the runner's path. So you have to run when you leave the batter's box. You have to run a direct line to first base. You're right. It could be inside or it can be outside, but it has to be a direct line to first base. Is what you have to run.
Yeah, so, you can't banana it and come back in.
Yeah. No. When you're talking about when you're rounding it on a base hit and stuff like that, you're rounding the bases. Guys go wide all the time. But that's only when you're rounding. If it's a ground ball, you have to run straight. Especially, you see it all the time on little choppers that go back to the catcher. If the catcher throws it, I've seen it plenty of times where it goes into right field, and then all of a sudden the runner is out because he wasn't running in the batter's path. He was running in the fielder's path. So you absolutely can run out of the baseline. Yeah,
because then you'll get called for interference, and it's an automatic out.
Yeah, but either way, this was just a lack of baseball IQ play. This is just
100%.
It was
110%
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm sitting there and I know, I know what the rule is, and I'm like, how does this guy not know what the rule is? Why did he just throw the ball? I remember thinking that was the first thing. I was like, oh my God, he just threw the ball. And then you see Javi stops and he gives the umpire the save sign because he's excited that Contreras scored. And then he's like, oh crap, I have to run. And he turns around and takes off. And then the ball ends up in right field. Javi cracks me out. Dude, I love watching that guy. And I know that he's not the player that Chris Bryant is. But this is the guy, I've been saying it for 3 years now. This guy and Wilson Contreras are the two guys the Cubs need to build around. They need to get whatever pieces they can for Chris Bryant and build around Javi Baez and Wilson Contreras.
All right, so moving on here now. Let's go ahead and jump into some NFL football talk here. And Combs, you brought it up. Was it Tuesday's show where you're like, hey, what about Julio Jones to the package? That makes sense. Package him for Jordan Love. That team would be great. But now there has been let me put massive air quotes around this. Massive air quotes. There was a leaked trade offer for Julio Jones from the Tennessee Titans, and it was basically just a first round pick. And the reason why I want to put leaked out there and in those air quotes, because these things just don't leak out. So Tori, what is your first initial thoughts on this leaked trade offer from the Tennessee Titans for Julio Jones?
To me, it's the leak is somebody trying to drive up his value even more. So somebody comes up and say, well, they offered a first round pick. Well, that means if I offer a first and a fourth or a fifth rounder, I could probably get him instead. To me, all it is, it's just driving up his price. It's somebody probably from within the Atlanta Falcons organization that said that, yeah, they offered a first round pick. And next thing you know, they got an offer of a first round pick. And so all that they're doing is trying to maximize what they can get for a player, knowing full well that they are going to trade him.
Yeah, so this reminds me of the paper that was placed on the New England Patriots desk. That was a draft day trade for Jordan Love, right? I mean, so this has that kind of vibe all over it 100%. Combs, what are your first initial thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't think it means much. I think that we saw a tweet the other day from their wide receiver there. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. AJ Brown. Yeah, he tweeted right at Julio and said, "Hey, look, you said you want to win. Come play with me." And so I don't know that it was leaked because there's a lack of interest. Because if there's a lack of interest in Julio Brown, then something's wrong. I mean, Julio Brown instantly makes a contender a Super Bowl threat.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. Sorry, I was thinking AJ Brown. Yeah, Julio Brown. Yeah, Julio Brown. It's my
Julio
new.
Brown is the newest receiver in the league.
That's gonna be my new TikTok alias, Julio Brown. Anyway, so Julio Jones. If there's no interest in Julio Jones, then something's wrong. Julio Jones instantly makes, like I said,
right.
a division contender a Super Bowl contender, plain and simple. So if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm going after him. Buffalo is a very interesting play. The Indianapolis Colts, I'm going after him. There's really not a spot. Hell, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm cutting Antonio Brown and going after Julio Jones. There's not a spot out there where he wouldn't fit and look good. I can't think of one team where he shouldn't go to other than, the obvious basement dwellers like the Jets or the Jaguars.
Yeah. So the one thing that comes to mind when this league trade is offered, and there is definitely interest for Julio Jones, right? I mean, there's 100% interest because just like what Combs said, he instantly makes a team Super Bowl contender if they're not the New York Jets. But the problem is I think the price is so high for a 35, 36-year-old receiver. I gotta even know how old
he's
he
not
is.
that old.
He's 32.
But either way,
but still,
30,
he's in the twilight of his career.
Yeah, 32-year-old player in the NFL. You're on the backside of the hill.
Yeah.
I mean, just so you are wanting 2 first-round
picks.
Don't
tell Tom Brady that.
Third quarterbacks are a different story here, but nobody wants to give that much up for an aging wide receiver.
I would
basically has so you have a 2-year.
Dude, if you're the
window,
Chicago, absolutely. If I'm the Chicago Bears GM, I would absolutely give up a couple of first-round picks for Julio Jones. He instantly makes you a contender. Instantly.
So you're telling me that Andy Dalton and Julio Jones is Super Bowl contender?
I'm telling you
that is what you
that
just said.
Justin Fields and Julio Jones make the Bears a Super Bowl contender, yes.
So therefore Andy Dalton's a top 15 quarterback in the league, right?
No, I said Justin Fields and Julio Jones.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So Andy Dalton,
especially with Allen Robinson on the other side of him. I mean, that would be a hell of a tandem. They might be good enough to win with Andy Dalton at that point.
My thing is with that kind of asking price, I agreed. Like, you don't give up a first round pick. What did the Patriots give up for Randy Moss at about that same age? A fourth round pick. The Patriots gave up a fourth round pick to get Randy Moss. Randy Moss still had
who did they trade? Who did they trade to get him? Who did they trade from?
I believe it was the Raiders that he got him.
It was the Raiders, yeah.
Exactly. That's why they got him for a fourth round pick, because it was the Raiders. If Randy Moss is with any other team, he commands at least a second round pick at that point in his career.
The Raiders were
Let's
good,
be
though,
honest.
The Raiders were top
the
of
Raiders
division.
organization has been the same since. The Raiders organization has been the same since like the 1980s. The same guys running it, the same guys making the calls, the same guys making stupid trades like that.
31 other teams didn't make an offer of at least a third round pick then.
Oh,
that's to say they went for probably the best pick that they could get. And that's where I think I love Julio. But you're not getting a first round pick. Like,
I think what happened was
Randy Moss.
Robert Kraft called, old man Al Davis.
Was
and
he
said,
still
"Hey,
alive?
look,
I suppose he was still alive then.
You come to New England, and I'll bring you to one of my rub and tug shops.
Oh, get out of here with that.
And you give me Randy Moss for a fourth round pick." Al Davis was like, "You got it, son."
Jeez. That is absolutely ridiculous, Combs. All right, guys.
That
is going to be it for the sports headlines here. We're going to take a quick little break, and we are going to talk some AFC West, the best division in football, hands down. So the first team coming up, we're going to talk the Denver Broncos and then the LA Chargers. So we're going to talk
Tori had that look.
And touch more.
Tori had that look like, damn, that probably isn't far off.
You're 100% wrong. We'll be back, guys.
What is your name? What? What is your name? Buck. Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
Check the mic and make sure it
Where
sound
did you
right,
get
boys.
that shirt?
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheis along with Brandon Combs and Tori Anderson. Not missing any part of the show whatsoever. You can head to manhourradio.com. Click on the podcast forum, and the podcast forum is uploaded right there to the website as soon as the live show is over. So let's go ahead and bring the boys back onto the show. And
The best part, I'll tell you right now, the best part of that commercial is River.
yeah,
Like, he is definitely the star of that commercial, just walking around in the background. I'm just impressed that you were able to keep clothes on him while you recorded that commercial.
so fun fact, as soon as I pushed stop, diaper was off and he was in the pool. So Yeah.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it whatsoever.
So his new thing here is we are potty training still. It's been very, very difficult with him for whatever reason. So now he will go outside and he'll pee on the tree, which is cool. But now he takes off his diaper and he poops and he brings me over. He's like he's like, Dad, look, dog poop. I'm like, no, that's River's poop. That needs to go in the toilet. He's like, no, that's dog poop, Daddy. But
yeah. and that's the thing with River. Give you guys a little behind the scenes, knowledge here. Buck will message us random pictures, and it'll be a picture of River's pants on the ground. Then 5 minutes later, we'll get a picture of River's diaper on the ground, and then we'll get River playing in the pool.
Bare ass naked. Living life bare ass naked. But
gotta love it, man.
I was born free, I'm going out free.
I got neighbors calling the cops.
Yeah.
He gets naked in his pool and it's cute. I don't get it.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Wait till he does that at the Mexican restaurant one time and then no. So speaking of poop here, the Denver Broncos were at the bottom cellar of the AFC West last season. They finished 5-11, and they lost 5 of the last 6 games to round out the season. There's at one point in the season, guys, they had a 7th-string receiver playing quarterback for them for the whole COVID thing, and it was a complete mess for them. But they did pick up Teddy Bridgewater in the offseason here to maybe solidify their quarterback needs here. But Colin, I'm going to kick it to you first here. When you look at the Denver Broncos this season, what do you have their overall record as?
I have the Denver Broncos at 10-7 this year.
10-7, okay.
Yeah. I think both West divisions. What division did you guys do last night?
We did the NFC South.
NFC South.
No,
okay.
No.
We did
AFC
AFC East.
Yeah.
AFC East, okay.
We did the NFC South on Tuesday.
Yeah, the West divisions, the 2 West divisions, I have being very, very good, with the exception of one team. And the Denver Broncos I have at 10-7. I do have them at 2-4 in the division. I don't have them very good in the division, but 10-7 is where I got them. And look, their schedule is not outside of the division. It's not extremely tough, and so I think that outside of the division, they can win a few games and really take this thing to a point where they've got a shot at a playoff spot.
Yeah, so that is 5-win improvement from the previous season. So do you think Teddy Bridgewater gives them the 5 wins, or is it just a lack of the easier schedule, the non-COVID thing? Like, what are your thoughts?
Do you want to know? Do you want to know why I have them at 10-7?
Why is that?
Because Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. Tori is already shaking his head. Tori, what do you have the Denver Broncos sitting at this season?
Well, I live in reality and I deal with facts. So some stuff Brandon doesn't know anything about. So as of right now, their quarterback is either going to be Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. And they get Cortland Sutton back this year, which is going to help that offense. They lost him last year. But I have them pretty much the same as last year. I have them at 5-12 based off of how good the rest of that division is. I just think that they're maybe about a year or 2 away, probably 2 years away from being a really good team. They need to, as much as I love Melvin Gordon and he's a Badger, they're going to need to find a different running back for him. So he's not worth what he's asked, or he's not.
They've got a
worth the
really light
price that they've
schedule,
got.
though, man. Like a really light schedule.
But let's see, they got I have them losing to the Giants in week 1. I have them beating the Jaguars. The Giants are not going to be a pushover team this year. I am calling that they are going to be the surprise team to potentially even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
I don't think I have them in the playoffs, but I would not be shocked one bit. The Giants.
Oh.
So you have them at 5-12. So let me ask you this question: Who's their starting quarterback week 1 to Tori?
Ugh. That's a great question. Thanks
Drew
for asking.
Lock. Drew Lock.
I think
if it's not
Teddy
Aaron
Bridgewater.
Rodgers, it's Drew Lock over Teddy Bridgewater. Look, and I've told you guys this in the past. There's a reason why Teddy Bridgewater keeps getting pushed around. There's a reason why teams don't believe in this kid, and I think Drew Lock will win this starting gig. I think that Teddy Bridgewater, I don't even know if he makes the roster.
Oh, he's definitely on the roster. They wouldn't have traded for him if
because
on the roster.
the cap hit would be astronomical because he's still owed like $27 million or something over the next 2 years.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like when he was in Minnesota, I liked this kid. I liked him when he was with New Orleans, and I thought that he was going to do good things with Carolina. I think injuries hurt him in Carolina with CMC going down. That hurt their chances a lot. But there is just a reason why all these teams keep trading him. I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. So Combs, when you said 10-7, like I was kind of taken back a tad bit here, but then I pull up my schedule, and that's exactly what I had them at. I have them at 10-7, just as well. And spoiler alert, they might win this division at 10-7. So I think the addition of Teddy Bridgewater is exactly what the Denver Broncos need. The Denver Broncos had that defense and they had that core offense, and they were just a quarterback away. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is.
You don't
that
like
guy
Drew Lock, huh?
I don't hate Drew Lock, but I don't love him either.
You don't think Drew Lock could get them to a 10-7 record on the schedule? I mean, seriously, let's look at what their schedule is outside of the division. So outside of the division, they get the Giants, they get Jacksonville, they get the Jets, they get Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they get
I had them split
Cleveland,
all of those.
Washington, Dallas, Philly. I mean, I don't have those all as losses. I've got some of them as losses. I got them beating the Giants and the Jaguars and the Jets. I got them starting the season 3-0. And then I have them losing to Baltimore and beating Pittsburgh. Then they beat the Raiders after they beat Pittsburgh. Then they lose to Cleveland. I think the Washington game will be a close one. That's the game that I circle as being their turning point game.
Yeah. Do you have them winning that football team game?
I do have them winning that football team game. And then I've got them losing the next week to Dallas. But I think that football team game, because at that point, I have them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-2. So they win that game. They're already at 6 wins and still
is
get
that their measuring stick game. Like
I think so.
This good.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you had that week 8 game versus the Washington football team as your game that you want to watch in that turning point season. Tori,
Yeah.
What is your game that you have circled on the roster or on the schedule?
For them, it's a little bit later season matchup, and I'm going with their Week 18 matchup against the Chiefs. Because I have them at 5-12. I don't think they're going to be that great this year, but I think at that point the Chiefs will probably be resting people. They should probably have their number 1 seed locked up, and it's a good momentum builder for them going into next year.
So
I never understood that. How is week 18 a good momentum builder for the next season? You think they're going to remember what they did in week 18 heading into the next season? People say that stuff all the time. They won week 18. That's good confidence for next season.
It is.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there's ramifications, but the thing is it can come down to ramifications of how your team is perceived going into the offseason, into free agency.
If you're 5-12, your team is going to be perceived the same as they are if they're 4-13.
Let's say you win your last 5 games of the year. You are a hot team, right?
Sure.
You might be 5-12, but you were hot those last 5 weeks, and
you're still 5-12.
Yeah, but your mindset. We won our last 5 games of the season, and
but we lost our first 12.
But
I don't personally. I've never understood that. Because I do hear people say it all the time. Oh, if they win this game, it's good momentum builder heading into the next season. What do you mean? They've still got the draft. They still might lose guys to it could be a whole new squad coming in next year.
But that's the thing. That last game is kind of an audition for your team for next year. And like I said, you could be changing free agents' minds, potential guys that might not have considered coming there and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
where I talk about like, there's a momentum builder.
That last game being an audition for, like, I just don't believe. I believe your season was your audition for your team for next year. That's what, like, I don't take it. The same thing when people start talking about, you know, college players and rookies and stuff like that. They're like, oh, the combine. Essentially, week 18 on a 5-12 team is the combine for veterans, and the combine to me means nothing too, because I want to see what you do when games matter. I don't want to see what you're doing with shorts on, and I don't want to see what you're doing against the Chiefs when they're resting everybody and their mother.
What if you were injured all for the first 12 weeks of the season, and then you play the last 5 games, and then you win all five games? You technically are 5-0 as a starter, right?
Sure. But my team is 5-12. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
You
to
as
me.
a starter are 5-0. But Tori, every team has a MVP for their season. Who is your MVP for the Denver Broncos this season?
I'm going to go with Courtland Sutton just because I think he's got a real chance to end up even being the comeback player of the year as well in the NFL. The guy's got too much talent, and I think he's going to end up really shining through. Got something to prove. So I think Courtland Sutton takes over this year for that receiving core. I think he establishes himself as a top 10 wide receiver in the league, and we're really going to start to see what he can do this year.
Combs, what about you?
I think it's Kyle Fuller. I'm going defense. I think Kyle Fuller has been a very underrated cornerback in this league for a long time with the Bears. I think he finally got out of that Bears, the situation he was with the Bears, and he went back to Vic Fangio. And I think that it was like, I think it was within minutes of the Bears releasing Kyle Fuller that Vic Fangio said, hey, you're a Bronco now. Like, right. They wasted no time going to get this guy. I think that Kyle Fuller is going to have a hell of a year.
Yeah, and I think Von Miller has a lot to prove this season after suffering his his injury last season, and many people put him on the retirement list saying he was done. It was chalked up to it. So I think he has a lot to prove this year, and I think that defense is going to eat. I think this defense is going to be a top 10 defense in the NFL statistic wise all season long.
Yeah.
So
I go one further. I have them in the top 5 defensively.
Yeah, I mean, even last year I think they were in the top 10 without Von Miller. Staking. So
the defense is solid for them. It's going to be how many points can they put up.
Not only did they pick up Kyle Fuller, but don't forget they drafted Patrick Surtain. That was a huge get.
And they still
for them
have
too.
Jerry Jeudy too. So Jerry Judy's a really, really good receiver. So speaking of really, really, really good, LA Chargers last season, guys, they kind of took us all by surprise with the whole Tyrod Taylor getting punctured lung and like all that stuff, and Herbert came in and done his thing, and in my opinion, he was the rookie of the year. But they did finish 7-9, but they did win the last 4 games of the season, giving them momentum into the offseason, right, Combs? So therefore, Tori, what is your overall record for the LA Chargers this season?
I actually have them going 11-6.
Wow.
So I think they continue to develop. Again, this is just a team that oozes talent. And there again, nobody's talking about them, but they are still considered one of the front runners right there with the Titans to get Julio Jones. And I think you pair, like, just as if you paired him with A.J. Brown, I think you pair him with Keenan Allen as well. Who's going to stop that offense? Nobody. You know, they have the running back position. I don't know. Not if their defense keeps going the way it's been going, but
still stop them.
So I have them. Yeah, 11-6. I think is right about where they're going to be. I think I have them backdooring into the playoffs, as the 7 seed.
11-6.
11-6 is a 7 seed.
11-6. Wow. Okay. I'm on the complete opposite spectrum of that, but I'll kick it to Combs first. Combs, what do you have the Chargers at?
Wow, you're on the opposite spectrum of that?
Yeah.
Wow. I got them higher than that. I got them at 13-4. Wow. I think that outside of this division, their schedule is really weak. They don't play a whole lot of tough competition. Inside their schedule, I think that they are one of the top. They are a top 2 team in this division. And I actually have them sweeping the Kansas City Chiefs in this division and going 5-1 in the division. So I have them at 13-4.
So you guys both have them going into the division, or basically killing it in the AFC this season. And I'm on the total opposite side of the spectrum. So I can tell you this, that I have the Chargers going 1-5 in the first 6 weeks of this season. 1-5. They lose to the football team. They lose to the Cowboys. They lose to the Chiefs, and they lose to the Browns and the Ravens. Their only win is versus the Raiders that week number 4. So I had the Chargers going 5-12 this season, 2-4 in the division. Combs, you had the Chargers sweeping the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs sweeping the Chargers this season. And we are all about
imagine that
late season pushes. Guess what, guys? I have the Chargers losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last 7 games to end the season. How am I a homer? I'm picking the Chargers schedule here. I'm not picking the Chiefs schedule. But there's a such thing as a sophomore slump, and I think Herbert has a sophomore slump this season, and he digresses a lot because the Chargers lost a lot in the offseason. They lost their tight end. They lost some players on the defensive side, and their draft wasn't very good either. So the Chargers take a step back, and they are the worst team in this division this year at 5-12. So Combs, I'm going to kick it to you first. I'm not smoking anything. What game do you have circled on this schedule?
What are you snorting then instead? You're not smoking nothing.
Pixie sticks.
You gotta be doing something.
Pixie sticks.
5-12.
Yeah, you're crazy. The game that I'm circling on this one is going to be that first game against the Chargers, or against the Chiefs, I should say. I think that's a statement game for the Chargers. I think that going into that game, I have them 1-1. I have them beating Washington and then losing to Dallas in week 2. But I have them beating the Chiefs in week 3. I have them making a statement. And then, I don't even really have them going on a run after that either. I have them winning one more and then losing to Cleveland and Baltimore back-to-back. Then they go on their little run because they get New England, Philly, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Denver, the Bengals, the Giants before they see the Chiefs again. So I think the schedule is really, really soft. I think that it favors them. I'm a big believer, and I'm a big believer. I've been a big believer since he got drafted. Big believer in Justin Herbert and what he can do. So I've got them at 13-4.
So before I kick it to Tori, do you believe in a sophomore slump at all? Do you think Herbert is going to digress at all this season, or is he still going to continue his upward trajectory?
Did you talk to me or Tori? I thought you said Tori.
To you, I said before.
No,
I kick it to
Tori. Oh! Before you kick it to Tori. No, I don't think that the sophomore slump. Like, I've never believed in a sophomore slump. I've seen plenty of guys who in their second year are just as good as they were in their first year. You look at like some of the greats of all time. Most of those guys didn't have sophomore slumps. Some of them had rookie slumps. If you want to talk about Peyton Manning, he had a rookie slump, but he was better his second year. So it just depends on the player. It depends on the player's situation, the team that he's on, and I think that this Chargers team is just really, really good. I think they're really good defensively, and I think that makes them even better offensively because they have more opportunities. They're getting the ball back. They're excited. They're always playing, with excitement because of how their defense plays. So I think that helps them out a lot, and I think that Herbert has a good season.
Okay, so Tori, what about you? What game do you have circled?
So I got their week 8 game coming out of their bye week against the Patriots because I think that kind of kickstarts them on getting really ascending. I have them going 3-3 the first 6 weeks of the season. Then they got their bye. After that, I like Brandon. I have them ripping off wins. Patriots, Eagles, Vikings, Steelers, Broncos, Bengals, and Giants. So
that's the same way I have it. I have them 3-3 before the bye week, and then they just go on a run because of the soft schedule.
That schedule plays really favorable. The only one that could potentially be a little bit of a trap game in there, I think, would be the Cincinnati game, just because West Coast to.
But see, the reason why I have them winning that game is I think that Justin Herbert wants to go out and show that he's better than Joe Burrows after Joe Burrows was picked ahead of him. So I think that's where I had them winning that game. I think if there's a sleeper game in any of those things, I actually think it's Philly because you're going coast to coast. You're going from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's a 1:00 game, and it's Philadelphia. and the fans in Philadelphia are ridiculous and stupid, and that's what they do out there. They get in your head, and so that's the one I think might be a sleeper game for them. But I just think that run is just too soft for them to really lose any momentum.
Yeah, and so the game that I have circled is the Eagles game, because I think if when they lose to the Eagles in that Week 9, so I have the Eagles winning that game versus the Chargers Week 9. This continues their downward spiral of this season, because at this point they only have 2 wins on the season, so they're going to be 2-6 going into Week 10, and the Vikings come into town, and the Vikings are going to be no joke. I mean, yes, I have them as a down year. I had them 6 and 11 this season, but I mean they aren't going to be a cakewalk by any means. So for them to possibly be a 8-9, 7-10 type of team here, they have to beat the Eagles, and I just don't see that happening in my eyes. So. Tori, who is the MVP for the LA Chargers this season?
Ooh, there's a lot of talent on that team. I'm going to go with yeah, there is. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler though. This is a lot of people unless you're a fantasy football guy, a lot of people don't even know who Austin Eckler is.
Yeah.
So Austin Eckler is probably one of the best backs that you've never heard of in this league. The guy can run the ball like there's no tomorrow. He can catch the ball. He can block. The kid just does it all. I think that really sets up this offense this year and sets up the rest of the offense for the rest of the year, as long as he stays healthy.
Combs, what about you? Who's their MVP this season?
It's going to be Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's the MVP of this team. Justin Herbert's the leader of this team. I think Justin Herbert, is in MVP conversations, and I think he has a great season and leads this team to possibly a division win.
So, for me, their MVP this season is going to be Ty Long. He is going to be averaging 8 or 9 punts a game, and he's going to probably be averaging about 40 to 45 yards per punt as well. So he will be leading the NFL in punts and yardage in those punts. No, I'm totally kidding.
I was like, what the hell did he just do?
I was going to be like, this is just a natural buck take at this point.
Yeah.
So for the Chargers to have a successful season, Joey Bosa has to have a great year. So because let's face it, this team goes as far as Joey Bosa goes. I mean, he is a highly sought after defensive end there, and he is just a great player. I mean, so I think Joey Bosa is their MVP this season. So, guys, before we head to our next break, any closing thoughts on those first 2 teams that we have covered, the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers?
I think you're out of your damn mind that the Chargers are going 5-12. That's what I think. There's no way that they go 5-12 unless they get 49er and they lose 11 starters and they can't field the team.
Look at their first 6 games here. First 6
and I
games.
have them going 3-3.
Yeah, so you are telling me that is not a confidence killer when you lose to the football
because
team,
you're
when you lose
losing
to the Cowboys,
Washington
when you lose to the
football team.
Chiefs.
They're not going to lose to the Cowboys.
I had them going 0-3 to start the season. Their first one's
they're going to lose to the football team. They're going to lose to the Chiefs. They're going to lose to Baltimore. Those are all 3 road games for them. And I have them winning all 3 of their home games against the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Browns.
So, boys, I just got a message.
Yeah.
My boss has been watching the show. He definitely knows I was watching the game while we were in the meeting.
I was going to be like, Brandon's like, while we're out here, can I put my LinkedIn profile because I need a new job?
Nah. He knows I usually have the game on anyway.
So Drew says today was my son's last day of elementary school. Drew, you are officially old because you have a middle schooler now, and it is.
Hey, what the? Like, I've got a senior in high school and a daughter who's in the Army boot camp. What? Don't call him old, because if he's old, then I'm ancient.
I believe trending on Twitter right now is hashtag Combs is old. So Facebook user says he thinks Tua will do better than who? I'm kind of confused
Herbert?
by that comment. Maybe, I don't know.
I think Javier is think comparing him to Herbert, which no,
not at all. Not even
We
close.
will say that for Shop Talk because I think Tua is overrated. So we can dive into that.
I
into
agree.
Shop Talk. So Tori, put a pin in that conversation. Save it for Shop Talk, man. All right, guys. So we are going to take our next break. On the other side of the break, we are going to play the infamous game of Guess Who. Simple yes or no question to guess who the athlete that I'm thinking of. Simple as that. We'll be right back, guys, here on the Man Hour.
I can guess who it's not.
Hey there, Mr. White T-shirt wearer dude.
Mr. White shirt wearer dude.
Do you wear the same shirt every day?
Same shirt every day.
Do you do the same thing every day?
The same thing every day.
Don't you worry, Mr. White shirt wearer dude. Now with Man Hour merch, you can spice up your style each and every day. From hats to beanies to shirts. We got you covered, Mr. White shirt wearer dude. Shop at manhourradio.com. T-shirts start at $15. Shop today.
Why, thank you, manhourradio.com, for this awesome merch. Hats, T-shirts, $15. You can't go wrong.
pretty obvious in that one. Dak's coming back off. You got Tom Brady, and did I mention 22 starters coming back?
When I say Lamar Jackson is trash, I'm not saying he is the worst quarterback in the league, but he is definitely not the best quarterback in the league. When you say somebody is trash, it is based off the perception of the general public.
Man Over Nation brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding. Protection you need when nature strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhouse along with Tori Anderson and BC Brandon Combs. You can find us all on Twitter at manhour_Tori, manhour_Buck, and of course manhour_Combs. So we have broken down some AFC West teams. We've broken down the Denver Broncos and the Chargers as well. We've covered a little bit of sports lines, but it is time to get into some game time here. So lighten up the mood a little bit, guys. Feel free to play along in the chat. And today only, if you guys, so I'm going to be monitoring the chat here. If you can guess two people before Brandon or Tori, I will give you a free Man Hour T-shirt of your choice. So play along in the like in the chat, and I'll give you guys a free T-shirt if you can.
Pressure's
guess.
on, Tori. We can't afford free shit,
Well,
so we
I was gonna say,
gotta be good.
Drew's pretty good at this, so
Yeah,
I know. I usually look for his comment and hope I win.
So
see,
with
I gotta
that being said,
mentally block them out.
mentally block him out. So maybe Drew will throw you guys some curveballs and lead you the wrong way, and he'd be like, "Oh, snatch that up, boys!" But who knows? So, guess who is a simple game where you try to guess who I'm thinking. You have to ask yes or no cool questions to narrow it down to figure out who it is. This is a spinoff of the actual game called Guess Who, where you flip down the things and does he have black hair? No, right? So that is what we are doing here. So, Tori, you are the reigning champion on Guess Who.
I beat him twice.
That's because you cried that I beat you last time. You're like,
He's-
best out of five.
He's
best
winless
out of five.
versus me. How is he the champion?
Because he beat
hush.
Luke G last
He's
night.
winless versus me, so I'm just
Okay.
throwing that
No,
out there.
I'm actually 1-1. I didn't cry about it.
Winless.
And have to go to a 5.
Go ahead, go first. I
was
always
mad
let you go
lost.
first anyway. Ladies first. Go ahead.
I'm gonna defer to the child.
All right.
And let him go first.
He's going to defer to Combs. Combs, you got the first question of the night on Guess Who. Yes or no answer, sir.
Is it a baseball player?
It is not.
Is it a basketball player?
No.
Do they play offense?
No.
Do they play defensive line?
No.
Do they play in the AFC?
Yes, they do.
Do they play in the AFC West?
Yes, they do.
Is it Kyle Fuller?
It is not. This one's tough. I'm just going to throw that out there. This one's tough.
Do they play linebacker?
No.
Do they play for one of the two teams we just talked about?
Yes.
Is it Derwin James?
It is not.
Is it Kareem Jackson?
It is not.
Let's see. Do I think I have it because this person played for both teams. Is it Chris Harris?
It is not.
Oh, because he played for both teams that we talked about.
Are they a first string?
They are a first string player.
Do they play strong safety?
They do not. I see the gear spinning here. Feel free to guess in the comments, guys. Like as well.
Is
You
it
might
Chris
get a free
Harris
t-shirt.
Jr.?
It is not Chris Harris Jr.
I said that.
Oh, did you? Damn
I
it.
did. Is it Nazir Adderley?
No,
Is it Michael Davis?
it is not. Drew says Bosa. It is not Bosa. They're not a defensive lineman.
No. Is it Justin Simmons?
It is not.
Ha ha ha. Is it Ty Long?
Yes, Combsy got it. The punter for the
I
LA
just started
Chargers.
thinking about how you said the punter was going to
MVP.
be the MVP.
MVP punter himself,
You said
Mr. Ty Long.
He said they didn't play offense.
Yeah, we didn't ask, and we,
We didn't
did
say
not. We
special
didn't
teams.
ask. We did not.
Yeah, so
We did not. 'Cause I'm like, wait a minute.
I mean, technically, I guess special teams could be considered offense
No.
because of the field goal team, right? But the punter is like they're simply there for
No.
special teams purposes.
Special teams is their own breed. They get their own
Yeah.
category.
So Combs, you were listening to the show. You were listening to I said. So the reason why I brought up Ty Long and the Chargers thing is I had him in the Guess Who here. So I'm glad you took that note, and maybe you guys are maybe going to put two and two together and continue on with the show here. So spoiler alert, maybe, possibly. But Tori, you are up here.
So wait.
on Guess Who.
What? He's the punter for the Chargers. Never mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I was like, wait a minute, he didn't play for the Broncos. I'm slow. It's Thursday.
It's okay. So Guess Who, Tori, you are up for question number one. Yes or no question.
Are they a football player?
They are not.
Is it Javier Baez?
It is not. That would be good.
That would have been awesome. Is it Wilson Contreras?
Nope.
Is it a baseball player?
It is a baseball player.
Do they play in the American League?
No.
Do they play in the Central Division?
No.
Do they play in the West?
They do.
Is it Fernando Tatis?
It is not.
Do they play for the Dodgers?
No.
Do they play for the Padres?
Yes.
Is it Eric Hosmer?
Son of a, that was my next.
It is Eric Hosmer. So you guys saw the Royals jersey here. I got the gold Fridays on, so I had to represent my man Eric Hosmer, even though this is a Salvi.
You could have picked
World
an actual
one.
Royal.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to totally give it away. I picked up an ex-Royal, but you guys are 2-2. So
I knew it
this
as soon as I said Padre. I was waiting for him to pick so I could pick Hosmer.
Yeah,
Dang it.
I mean, it was a toss-up between Manny Machado and
But
Eric
see,
Hosmer. So
you got to just remember, just go with the name that he can pronounce or that he knows.
I know.
exactly because Vanilla Wafer is not on the show anymore, so I got to go to a easier guess here. So you guys are tied 1 apiece. So this is.
Are
for
we doing
all
5
of the
or 3?
marbles. We're doing 3 tonight.
3.
We're doing
right.
3. So this is for all of the marbles. So Combs, you are up first. Yes or no question on this segment of Guess Who.
Is it a basketball player?
It is a basketball player.
Do they play in the Eastern Conference?
Do they play in the Eastern Conference? Yes, they do.
Is it Trae Young?
It is Trae Young. Hey. I guess my hint
Still
was a
undefeated
little,
versus Torrey.
Was a little too obvious, huh? My hint was a little too obvious today. But yeah, I had to go Trae Young because I figured you guys would overstep that. But then, yeah, I guess I give it away a little too much here. Should we do one more just for keepsakes here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Tori, you have redemption time here. Maybe you could tie it up, but I doubt it. Well, go ahead. Yes, no question.
Are they a football player?
They are not the football player.
Are they a basketball player?
No,
Do they play in the National League?
they do.
Is it Javi Baez?
It is not Javi Baez.
Is it Wilson Contreras?
No,
Do they play in the West?
no,
Do they play in the East?
yes.
Is it Ronald Acuna Jr.?
No. You know I can't say that name.
Do they play for the Nationals?
They do not.
Is it Bryce Harper?
It is not.
Is it Freddie Freeman?
No. I do like Freddie Freeman though.
Do they play for the Mets?
They do.
Is it Jacob deGrom?
It is Jake DeGrom. It is Jake DeGrom. What is he like 2-3 on the season and like a .005
3-2 with a .80 ER. It is so disgusting.
Ridiculous.
How bad? Like, I don't understand why the offense is so bad when he's on the mound. It's only when he's on the mound.
Do you
Like,
think
I
they kind
don't-
of just like give him just like the F you, Jake?
No, they just, for whatever reason, it's just one of those things where they don't hit on days that he pitches. I don't understand what it is. I don't understand how it happens. But this guy is so. I read a stat the other day that said that he has 17 hits and 49 at bats, and he has allowed 49 hits and 147 at bats. Like, I just don't understand. I hate you.
No, like I was like I don't understand how he can have that high a batting average when he's giving up like a .160 batting average or something like that to the opposing teams.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like so do you like how would you fix this realistically? Maybe he goes, it's like instead of getting his 5 days rest, does he need like a 4-day rest start to maybe like, hey, maybe like jinx type thing?
Look, man.
They seem to put him in the wrong
I don't
jersey.
think it matters.
Yeah. change his name for like a day.
Yeah, be like, hey, we got Steven Matz back. Yeah, you're Steven Matz today.
Yeah. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand how, like, why it gets so bad. Because this guy, year after year, he doesn't allow runs. He just doesn't. You don't score on Jacob deGrom, and yet he always ends up like 8-12 or 8-14 or 9-7. Like, it's ridiculous.
With a 1.71 ERA.
Yeah,
Season.
it's insane. He's gonna win the Cy Young again. Which Hoffey, by the way, predicted. Which, he really went out on a limb picking the guy who's won 3 of the last 4 Cy Youngs. But
right. All right, guys. So we are going to take our next break. On the other side of the break, we are going to break down the rest of the AFC West. We have the Kansas City Chiefs coming up, and of course the Las Vegas Raiders coming up as well, right here on the Man Hour as we break down their schedule. Guys, sit back and enjoy this quick little break. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs and Tori Anderson. Find us on Twitter at manhour_Tori, manhour_Combs. You can find me as manhour_Buck as well over there on the old Twitter machine. So let's bring everybody back onto the show here. Guys, we broke it down half of the AFC West. Now it's time to break down the other half of the AFC West here. And we are going to start with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders had kind of a tale of 2 seasons almost. They had their first half where they were 6-3 or 6-2, and then they finished the season 8-8. So definitely a tale of 2 seasons. And Derek Carr kind of maybe solidified himself as maybe a top 10 quarterback in the league last year. We don't really know. We will ask the experts here, Mr. Tori Anderson and Brandon Combs themselves. So Tori, I'm going to kick it to you first since you are on the left side here. What do you have the Las Vegas Raiders going this season?
I have them going 6-11 this year, just because this is a team that has struggled to find its identity altogether under Gruden and Mayock, and I think it's going to be a lot of the same. It's just like it's organized dysfunction is what it feels like with this team every single year. The only constant that this team's got is they got probably a top 10 running back in Josh Jacobs.
That's it, huh? So you
That's
had them
it.
going. You had them going what again? I'm sorry, I missed
6 and I have them going 6-11.
6-11. Combs, what about
Yeah.
you?
So it's scary how much me and Tori are agreeing tonight. I've got them going 5-12, and it's not just because I don't think that Jacobs is the only thing that they have. I really do like Derek Carr. I think he's a very underrated quarterback, but I just think that they do nothing to build around him. They've done nothing to make that. I mean, the Alex Leatherwood pick in the first round was just mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. And so I didn't like that pick. I didn't like their draft that they had. You know, they all they do for wide receiving core is pick the fastest guys they can find. They don't pick guys that can catch. They pick the fastest guys they can find, and it just never works well for them. And so I've got them at 5-12. I think they have another down year. I think Gruden gets fired after this year too.
That would be great for them, to be honest, because Gruden has kind of been what Tony La Russa has been for the White Sox, like a cancer just building and starting to eat away that team. But the Las Vegas Raiders haven't had a winning season, guys, since 2016, and I think that continues this year. They are another 8-9 team. You know, they are just good enough to have people talk about them early in the season, and then they fall off in the middle, and then they come back hot late, and they maybe possibly have, you know, they're in that playoff hunt with 15, 16 other teams left like in that hunt, and then, you know, they for some reason they
got the tougher out of division schedule out of the entire West. Like their out of division schedule. We talked about how easy it was for the Chargers and how easy it was for the Broncos. Their out of division schedule is much tougher. They got the harder teams in those, you know, divisions that they're playing. Like they have to play the Bears, they have to play the Dolphins, they have to play the Ravens, they play the Cowboys and the Bengals and the Washington football team, the Redskins, and
I have them starting the season 0-4.
I have them starting 0-6.
See, and I had them starting 3-3 going into week 7.
That's because you're Buck.
Yeah, they're. So you think that they beat? Who do you have them beating in those first 6 weeks?
So I do have them beating the Ravens week 1, because this is the first game that the black hole will be in Vegas, and they are going to be lit, and it's a Monday night game. It is that late Monday night game. I mean, so the Ravens body
there
clock
is more
be
fight in their
the
fans outside of the stadium heading into it than there is in this team.
No, I mean, like,
but now they got suites in the end zone with DJs. And
oh my god, that was the worst beatboxing I've ever heard in my entire freaking life.
I'm amazing at beatboxing. Wait till the after show. I'm just kidding.
That was not amazing. But so basically. Combs, the first 6 weeks of their schedule, I had the home teams winning all of these games. So I had them beating the Ravens, I had them losing to the Steelers, I had them beating the Dolphins, losing to the Chargers, beating the Bears, and losing to the Broncos.
Dude, first of all, they're not better than the Ravens. The Ravens are infinitely better. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a down,
but
Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a down year, but it's in Pittsburgh. Miami's going to
Steelers win.
Miami's going to beat them because Miami's better than them in all phases of the game. The Chargers obviously beat them. The Bears come into I don't care who their quarterback is. The Bears are a better team than the Raiders too.
See, and I know where Buck's going to go, and I'm going to semi-agree with him that those could swing because of those East Coast, West Coast games. That time difference always is a little bit killer. Yeah. And so But the reason I think that the Ravens take them in week 1 is because they're going to be out there early for that game. Again, because it is a Monday night game. They're still going to go out there on a Wednesday. By the time the game rolls around on Monday, they'll be adjusted to that time difference. So
possibly, but
it's usually 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, and the reason why I think it's less of a problem for East Coast to go to West Coast than West Coast to go to East Coast, because the East Coast teams go to the West Coast. They play the 4:00 start on the West Coast, which is a 1:00 start on the East Coast, which is the time they're used to starting anyway. So I think it's less of a problem for the East Coast teams to go to the West Coast, especially when the West Coast team is not as good as they are.
So Tori, as I do agree with your time zone change there, like got it, like that was not a factor into my week 1 game. My factor was simply the fans, because Vegas allowed 0 fans in the stadium all year. So this is their grand opening for that $3 million or $3 billion stadium that they built a Monday night. That place is going to be lit, guys. Home field advantage is a real thing, and it would not surprise me if this Las Vegas stadium breaks the indoor sound barrier this Monday night game, and the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson can't handle it.
The Raiders fan base is amazing, because as bad as this organization is, they still show up.
They were great in Oakland. We don't know how they're going to be in Vegas, though. So, like,
right,
that's
the other
the
thing.
asterisk. Yeah,
there's a lot of other things to do in Vegas than go see a Raiders game. So it might not be as crazy as we think. I don't know. I don't think that it's same thing with we talked about this with Detroit. You talked about the Detroit home field advantage, and I asked what home field advantage they were. They were 1-7 last year in Detroit. And I think that's going to be
with
about
no fans,
the same.
With no fans.
It's going to. Well, before that, they weren't great in Detroit either. Well, I mean, I could go back and look at it if you want, but
they're not great. But teams just play bad there.
Yeah.
Like
I've got
just
them
a really loud, monotone sound all game long, and it's really quite annoying, honestly.
And I have 4 of the Raiders' 5 wins in Vegas, so I mean, take that for what you will. I think that in Vegas they beat though I have them splitting with Denver this season. And I have, week 17 could be an interesting one when they play Indianapolis. Is Indianapolis still playing their guys? Are they resting their guys? I have them splitting with the Chargers this year. I have them winning a whole game versus the Chargers, but that Chargers home game is in week 18. And by that time, I think the Chargers have the division wrapped up. So,
yeah. So the Chargers win that. Okay. Spoiler alert there.
Oh, spoiler alert. My bad.
So looking at the Raiders schedule here, you don't have them doing very good this season. But what game do you have circled?
So for the Raiders, I think it's going to be that week 7 game. That's when I have them getting their first win. I think that they actually win 2 out of the next 3, and they could possibly win 3 in a row, because I think that Giants game is a toss up. After the bye week, but I think that week 7 game could be that time where they finally get over the hump and they finally get a W in their pocket.
Yeah, so before I kick it to Tori real quick here, Drew asked a question, how long has Gruden been a coach at the Raiders? I believe he's been there since 2018, 2020. So
yeah,
this is
his second stint, so
yeah. So this is his second stint, but this is his. So he had 2018 season, 2019, 20. So this is his fourth season going into Vegas. So, but he did sign that 10-year, $100 million deal as well. So who really knows how long he is going to coach? But Tori, who is that game that you have circled for the Raiders?
Week 10 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think the Chiefs go into Las Vegas, party like it's 1999, annihilate the Raiders. Win by 3 scores, and Gruden and Mayock are fired after the game. I think that's going to be the end point, and they are going to be like, this isn't working.
Mid-season firing, huh?
Yep.
So you are predicting a mid-season firing after the bye week. So you don't think that they would fire him week 8 during the bye week, or sorry, week 7 after
No, because they're the Raiders.
So wow.
Because that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. So, I do have the Raiders going 8-9. So the game that I have circled is this Week 4 game versus the LA Chargers. They travel to LA and they obviously play the Chargers. But I actually have them losing that particular game. But I think if they win that game, that would obviously make them 9-8. And I think they can sneak into the playoffs at 9-8 in the AFC as a 7 seed. So
yeah. See, I have the Raiders winning that Week 10 game versus the Chiefs. I have them because the Raiders always seem to play the Chiefs hard, especially when they're at home. They always seem to find a way to beat the Chiefs, no matter how good the Chiefs are. And so I think that's one of them. But I do like the prediction. That's a bold prediction.
What was it? It was last year when they played the Chiefs. So they manhandled the Chiefs for their first loss last year, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. And
They
Buck
came
called
out and
that one.
kind of smashed them in the mouth.
Yeah, Buck called it too the week before we were doing our picks for the week,
Yeah.
and Buck's like, "Look, the Raiders." And I'm like, "You're crazy. The Chiefs are gonna roll the Raiders. The Raiders suck." And then the Raiders rolled the Chiefs, and I was like, "Wow,
But
all right."
Again, it's a rivalry game though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this question here. Yes, the stadium was built in 2020, but there have been no fans in there, and the owner hasn't even watched a game there. Do you think that that LA Oakland fan base goes to Las Vegas and supports them, or do they just because we've seen the infamous pictures of the guy with the shoulder pads and the silver paste painted with the helmet on and like in the black hole down there in like Oakland? Do you guys think we see that fan base in Vegas?
I do. I think they travel well. I think that Raiders fans are rabid fans. I think that their stadium sells out just because Vegas is always so busy.
Right.
And I don't think that it's necessarily filled with Raiders fans all the time, but I think that they'll do a great job of drawing big crowds.
Tori?
I do not think they follow. I think they switch their allegiance, give it to the Chargers, because it's a 2-hour ride from LA to Vegas. And how far it is from Oakland to Vegas, I have no clue.
It's about 9 hours.
From Oakland to Vegas?
Yeah, Oakland
That's
to
close.
LA
Oakland.
is about 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oakland's
So-
way up north.
The thing is I just don't see. I mean, they may support their team. I just don't see them going to the stadium.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this stadium becomes a rich person's game because they can afford to go. The average fan is not going to be able to afford to run to Las Vegas every time that they have a home game.
I mean, 9
So-
times a year. That would be
Right.
expensive, yeah.
So that's to me, it makes no sense. They're just still going to have their fan base. Are they going to show up to those games? No, they're going to watch them on TV more than likely. But it's like I said, DJs in the end zone with suites in the end zone.
It's starting to become a
This-
party atmosphere, kind of like since you're in Vegas,
Right.
come to this stadium and watch a game.
Right, and money. It's all money. And there again, your average fan is not a rich person. So
True.
they're
We're very, very poor people over here.
Johnny blue collar that goes to work every day, keeps his nose down, pays our bills, and when we can afford extra stuff, we buy it. It's not a luxury that we can afford to do throughout an entire year.
So just to recap here, Combs, what do you have the record as again?
I have them at 5-12.
I have them at 8-9. Tori?
6-11.
6-11. So we're all kind of pretty close, one game or the other.
Yeah, they're a losing team.
They're 100% losing team. But you guys know who is not a losing team? The Kansas City Chiefs, runners of the AFC West here. So the final team of the AFC West is the Kansas City Chiefs. Combs going to kick it to you first this time. What do you have the overall record for the Kansas City Chiefs?
They are 12-5.
12-5.
12-5. I think the Chargers win this division by a game. I have the Chargers at 13-4, and ultimately it's because I have the Chargers sweeping the season series. And so, in the division, I have the Chiefs at 2-4. I've got them having a down year in the division. I think that this division's a little bit stronger. I think that the sweep of the Chargers puts them into a losing record in the division, but they still finished 12-5.
All right, so 12-5. So you haven't given sweat by the Chargers and splitting with the Raiders and the Broncos here in the division. Tori, what about you? What is their record?
I actually have them going 15-2. Wow. So I really like what they've done. I think we all kind of questioned when they cut both starting tackles, like, what the heck are they going to? They rebuilt a really nice offensive line like overnight.
For
so
cheap,
it's like,
too. For very cheap.
Yeah. So
I misspoke,
was like,
by the way.
Okay.
I actually have them at 11-6.
11-6.
Yeah. I was looking at the wrong number.
I have them at 15-2. And it's like I said, they kind of went the Patriot way where like they had an off season where they could do no wrong. They filled in the spots that they needed to. You went, oh my God, what are they doing? And you're like, well, that worked out pretty well. So that's kind of the story of their entire off season. So
they've got a tough schedule this year, man.
They do have a tough schedule, but
Really tough schedule. I mean, they play Cleveland, they play Buffalo, they play Green Bay, and if Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay, which I don't think he is, but even if he's not in Green Bay, that's still a tough Green Bay defense. They've got to play Dallas. They have to play the Raiders obviously twice, but the Bengals aren't an easy task either. So they play all the divisions that they play against. They play the division, the tops of those divisions, and it's not an easy task. I don't see any scenario where they can win 15 of these games.
Yeah. So Tori, you had them going 15-2. Who are their 2 losses?
I have them losing at the Washington football team, and then I have them losing in week 18 to the Broncos because they're going to have the number 1 seed wrapped up and won't need to play anybody.
Yeah, and this is the same football team that Tori does have going 13-4 on this season. So that's exactly where I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I had them going 13-4 as well. So I actually had them losing to the Ravens, the Packers, and the Bengals and the Broncos. So they lose 2 games in a row to end the season. Just because I think, because for one, the Chiefs never play good in Mile High Stadium. That is just the way it is, and it's the last game of the season. Yeah. So they're going to be very, very conservative players.
I have them alternating losses and wins through the first 5 weeks. I have them starting off with a loss to Cleveland in week 1. I have them beating Baltimore in week 2. I have them losing to the Chargers in week 3. I have them beating the Eagles in week 4 and losing to Buffalo in week 5, and then they go on a little run.
Yeah.
But I just if I would have been on last night, you guys would have already known. I've got Buffalo being very, very good this year. I've got Buffalo at 16-1 this year. And I think that week 5 matchup versus the Kansas City Chiefs is what vaults them to that record. I think that is their statement game. They walk into Kansas City and they handle Kansas City, which is probably one of the hardest stadiums to play a road game in. And once they do that, they roll.
Yeah, but recent memory, the Chiefs have dropped some key home games. They're actually like 500 at home the last 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken on that. So, Tori, what is that key game for the Kansas City Chiefs this season in your eyes?
Week 9, State Farm Bowl. It's Mahomes versus the discount double check. And I think that game is actually going to be a shootout. I don't think either defenses are going to play very well. That could very well be like a 42-48 game. So I feel
versus
like a
discount double check week 9. They don't play the Broncos till week 13. So Jordan Love versus Patrick Mahomes in week 9?
Because there again, I deal with reality and facts.
Okay.
So
Combs you have circled.
For me, it's going to be the Chargers games. I think that's what's going to decide the division. If they can figure out a way to sweep the Chargers instead of those Chargers sweeping them, then they win the division, and that knocks the Chargers down to 11-6 and them up to 13-4. So them Chargers games are huge.
So you actually had the Chargers sweeping them this season. Tori, I forgot to ask you on that Week 9 game. Who do you have winning that game, Packers or the Chiefs?
I have the Chiefs because it's a home game.
Okay.
So like the courtesy 3.5 point spread.
Right. So I am a firm believer that I think you need to lose a couple games in the season to really figure out who you are as a team. So I have 2 games circled: the Week 2 game versus the Baltimore Ravens when they travel to Baltimore, and then the Week 9 when the Packers come into town. I had the Kansas City Chiefs losing these two games, and I think they have to lose these 2 games to go back to another Super Bowl. If the Kansas City Chiefs do not lose at least 4 games in the regular season, they will not go back to the Super Bowl this season, just because they don't know how to fix their mistakes. Like, if that makes any sense.
And you talked about their home woes. What do you have their home record as this year?
So home this year, I actually had them at 8-1. Their only loss is to the Packers this season.
I see. I have them at 5-4 at home this year, 6-2 on the road.
5-4 at like at home. So you had them losing to the Chargers at
the Browns week 1.
Browns, okay.
The Chargers week 3, Buffalo week 5, let's see, where else do I have them losing at home? I have them losing to Denver at home, 1 game. And then I have, so those are their 4 losses at home.
Wow, I mean, I wouldn't say you're wrong because the Broncos and Chiefs always play a close game. The Chargers are, they might be improved. They're just like in your eyes.
And Cleveland is week 1, and that's a dangerous game week 1 because Cleveland's looking to prove that they're for real. Then obviously you play the Chargers week 3. That game could go either way, but I really feel like that Buffalo game week 5 is the statement game for Buffalo.
Let me ask you this question. The Kansas City Chiefs' first 3 games of the season, they are all playoff teams, like in your guys' eyes. The Browns, the Ravens, and the Chargers. Do they possibly start the season 0-3, and we're questioning the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, are they the same team?
I think people are questioning them after week 5 because they're 2-3. I think, and that's when I have them going on a run and becoming 6-3. Before they lose another game. So I feel like they've got that run in them, but they play that top heavy schedule, and so that's where I have people question them is after that Buffalo loss in week 5.
So Tor, you had them going 15-2, right?
Correct.
Who are their 2 losses?
The football team in week 6, and I have them losing to the Broncos in week 18.
Week 18. So. Yeah. Is there any game that you have circled that they could, possibly go one way or the other? The Packers, the Bills, the Ravens, all of them?
I was going to say, what one do you want? The Browns, Ravens, Chargers, Bills game, Packer game, almost any one of those. The Pittsburgh game. So it could literally. But the thing is what I don't think is the league has not figured out the formula to consistently beat Patrick Mahomes yet. I think certain teams have figured out portions of it, but they haven't figured out how to stop Patrick Mahomes.
And I think the Chiefs have improved. They better have improved themselves from the Super Bowl because the Buccaneers completely shut them down. Yes, their offensive line was.
I was going to say you were playing a backup line,
but you still got to learn from losing, and hopefully they have learned from that mistake. So, Coach, what were you saying before I cut you off?
Did anybody not pick the Buffalo Bills to win the East yesterday?
I don't think so. I think we all picked them.
Yeah, but I actually had the Patriots in close second. So I actually had the Bills at 12-5 and the Patriots at 11-6.
Wow, 12-5. What do you got them at, Tori? What do you got the Bills at?
I have them at 15-2 as well.
Okay.
So
So we weren't far off. I have them at 16-1.
Yeah.
That is so unrealistic.
The only division I don't have a double-digit winner in is the South with the Titan or with the Colts.
I think Buffalo Buffalo's got another one of those teams that's got a soft out of division schedule, and even in their in division schedule, I think they take advantage of playing in a weak division. I think they win some big games though. I think they beat the Chiefs. I think that they beat the Colts, and I think that they beat the Saints. I think those are their 3 toughest games, to be honest with you. I mean, you got Pittsburgh, Miami, Washington, Houston, Tennessee, Jacksonville. You know what I mean? They do not play a tough schedule. The Falcons, Carolina, those are their toughest out of division opponents are the Colts, the Saints, and the Chiefs. I have them winning all 3 of them.
Yeah, so I actually have a question that I want to propose to you guys during Shop Talk here. So Shop Talk is coming up here right after the break here, guys, on the Man Hour. So I'm going to stick a pin in this conversation, and we're going to talk about that here. But if you guys want to talk about anything, let us know in the chat. And we also got other things to talk about also during Shop Talk. So sit back and relax. We'll be right back here after a short little break.
ManHourRadio.com.
My bad, guys. Forgot to edit that one clip there. It goes black for like six minutes apparently. And but yeah, welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Let's go ahead and bring the boys back onto the screen here. If you missed any part of the show whatsoever, head to youtube.com/Man Hour. Hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon. And we upload clips each and every day throughout the day there. And the clips, guys, they're kind of our bread and butter right now because there's a lot of good discussion and a lot of the topics there, aka the Washington football team, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Titans, and those fan bases are really passionate fan bases, and I really, really like it. I really, really enjoy it. But
and they really, really don't like us.
they really, really don't like Tory, basically. No, they freaking hate me. But with that being said, so we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs schedule and like how they have a tough schedule. But I want to bring up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule here because they got a pretty soft schedule, for being defending Super Bowl champs. They don't have that tough a schedule, to be flat out honest. Yes, they play the Buffalo Bills. Yes, they play the Washington football team. But then they play the Eagles and the Panthers and then the Jets and then the Giants. Like when you are defending Super Bowl champs, shouldn't you have the hardest schedule in the NFL? But I think the Kansas City Chiefs have a harder schedule than
the problem is that it's determined by the division. So you already predetermined like what your out of division teams are going to be. So you're either playing against the AFC South and the NFC South, or you're playing against the AFC East and the NFC East, and they're playing against the East, and we know the East divisions were bad. Like their divisions were horrible. So like Tampa Bay doesn't have a horribly tough schedule, you're right. But they do have to play Dallas week 1. That's a tough one. They do have to play the Bears again. The Bears beat them last year, even though, I mean, that was kind of on Tom Brady. They do play the Colts. They play the Buffalo Bills, So and the Washington football team isn't horrid, So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I mean, the Rams are another one that they play against.
I gotta think the Rams are going to be that good this season, to be flat out honest. But
that Rams defense is sick, man. Come on.
But I strongly dislike that they predetermine you're going to play the NFC North. Like, let's make it so the NFL is more competition week in and week out, so you don't have a team going 16-1. Like you don't have two teams going 15-2. I mean, do you really want to see teams going 16-1 and 15-2 this season, Tori?
Yes, because it puts money in their pocket. Yeah. The league does. The league always wants to see that. You know why? Because it energizes that team's fan base, especially if it's a team that's not used to doing it and not like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is exactly the epitome of winning football. When you think winning football and tradition, you do not think Tampa Bay Buccaneers. True. So for them to be good and to win like that, yes, it's good for the league because it brings money into the league. I think that it does. It does wonders for the fan bases. So
especially since those teams that are going 15-2 and 16-1, with the exception of the Buffalo Bills, because I don't have anybody close to them in their division. But I have Tampa Bay at 15-2, like we talked about the other day. But I've got New Orleans right behind them at 14-3. In the West, I've got a team at 15-2 because we haven't talked about that yet. But I've got a team at 15-2. I don't have any team in that division winning less than 11 games.
We've actually talked about the AFC West. Yeah.
Oh, we did. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, then I can say it then.
Division.
Yeah.
I can say I've got Arizona at 15-2. I've got the Rams at 13-4. I've got the Niners at 12-5, and I got Seattle at 11-6. I got 3 out of the 4 teams in the West making the playoffs.
I have San Francisco barely missing the playoffs at 10-7 as the worst team in that division.
Yeah, that division is going to be so good.
Yeah, and see, I have all of them at 9-8. This year, all 4 of them at 9-8.
Have you looked at their schedules?
Yeah, I looked at their schedules.
Arizona plays Tennessee, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Houston, Carolina. Like, those are their out of division opponents. So
first of all, I think the Houston Texans are going to be better than anybody's giving them. That anybody's giving them credit for.
They're not going to
100%.
have Deshaun Watson. Even if they don't trade him, he's not playing this year.
They have Tyrod Taylor still.
The
Tyrod
only thing that's going
Taylor
to be
is
fun about the
trash. Come
Texans
on.
is they're putting the fun in dysfunction this year.
Putting fun in dysfunction.
Yeah, the Houston Texans are garbage. They've lost pretty much everybody that's worth a damn. And Jesus Christ, this is why I love hockey. Sorry to get off track here. We started talking. I looked down for 2 seconds. I looked up. Overtime had started between Montreal and Toronto. I looked down. I looked up. I missed the damn goal. I don't know how Montreal just won the game. I don't know how they won it. But anyway, getting back to football.
So I actually misspoke. I have 3 teams going 10-7, and the Seahawks going 8-9.
Do you just think that this division beats up on one another? Is that why you have it like that?
Yes. So I actually have everybody splitting in the division.
It's funny.
Year.
So I have the Cardinals at 14-2 in that division. I've got
14-2 in the division.
At 4-2 in the division. Sorry, I misspoke there. I've got the Rams at. Let's see, what do I got the Rams at in the division? I got the Rams at 3-3 in the division. San Francisco at 2-4 in the division. Seattle at 3-3 in the division. But I don't have any of them losing very much outside of the division.
Really?
They're just that division is just that good, man.
It's like I said, San Francisco is could be a playoff team, and they're the worst team in that division.
Yeah, and Stafford going to the Rams, I think, makes them a legit threat to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs.
Wow. Okay.
I've been a big believer in Matthew Stafford even when he was with the Lions. I love Matthew Stafford. I think the guy's got more heart than any quarterback I've ever seen. I think he's the toughest quarterback I've ever seen. And I think that he's finally going to a situation where he has weapons, he has a defense, he has a running back. He's got everything that he needs to succeed. I think he goes out and gets it done. And he could possibly, and we'll talk about this when we get to those predictions, he could possibly get himself a ring this year.
Okay. Tori, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think Stafford potentially gets a ring this year. Although I could see them making a deep playoff run. Because that defense is ridiculous. And they return almost every week. The biggest question mark they have is at running back this year for that team. So, I don't know. I have the Cardinals going 14-3 in the year. I got them 4-2 in the division. I got the Rams going 3-3. I got them at 12-5. I do have the Seahawks going 12-5 in the division as well, but I have them at 5-1 in the division. And that's primarily because of the experience that they have already with Russell Wilson and with that team already. The one I struggle with, and it's like I said, I have them at 10-7, is I have them going San Francisco going 0-6 in the division. And I just noticed that.
Wow.
Just like I've noticed Buck's hat slowly has gone further and further on the back of his head the more the show has gone on.
My ghost is alive.
It's like Sigourney, or not Sigourney, was it Sigourney Weaver in Galaxy Quest? Like the zipper keeps going down on her outfit, like as the movie goes on. So I just noticed that. I'm like, Buck's hat just keeps going further and further. Pretty soon it's going to fall off his head. But yeah, I have them. I could be completely wrong on that because that division is so good. They are going to beat the living snot out of each other.
So next week, guys, we are going to be off on Sunday and Monday for the observance of Memorial Day, like obviously here. But we are going to be breaking down our particular playoff scenarios here. So, Tori, do you have your playoff predictor pulled up?
I do.
What does your AFC and NFC playoff picture look like right now, wild card weekend?
So right now, let me go to wild card weekend here. I want to reset week. Oh, I am on wild card weekend. So right now I have Cleveland as a 5 seed going up against Tennessee as a 4 seed.
And the AFC.
In the AFC. And I got Cleveland. Cleveland is the only road team I have winning the whole weekend. So The next game I have the Chargers versus Baltimore.
Don't tell us who is going to win yet, Tori.
Oh.
Come on, man. Relax.
So, well, you just want my teams?
Yeah, just who do you have in there?
Oh, so
Who
I got
are the 7 teams and the playoffs?
I got Cleveland, Tennessee, Chargers, Baltimore, Buffalo, Miami, and Kansas City.
Combs, well, what about you? In the AFC, who are your 7 teams and the playoffs?
In the AFC, I've got Buffalo as the 1 seed. I've got Cleveland as the 2, Indy as the 3, Chargers as the 4, Chiefs as the 5, Baltimore as the 6, and Denver as the 7.
Wow. Okay. So as of right now, I need to pick one more game. I'm totally sorry about that, guys. My bad. There we go. So I have the Chiefs at the number 1 seed, Buffalo Bills at number 2, Ravens at 3, Colts at 4, Broncos at number 6, Patriots at 5, and Browns at 7.
Wow. You think Baltimore beats Cleveland for that division, huh?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Cleveland's better than Baltimore.
I think the Ravens have the easier schedule.
I would agree. I agree with that because overall Cleveland does have a better team, but I think Baltimore has
their
the
schedule's
schedule.
that much tougher. I don't know. I think we just difference of opinion there, but yeah, I just.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely have opportunity to break down these games next week. So, Combs, who do you have as your NFC teams?
NFC teams, as the 1 seed is the Arizona Cardinals, the 2 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 3 seed is the Dallas Cowboys, the 4 seed is the Minnesota Vikings, the 5 seed is the New Orleans Saints, the 6 seed is the Rams, and the 7 seed is the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. Tori, what about you?
7 seed I got as the New York Giants. 6 seed I got the LA Rams. The 5 seed I got the Seattle Seahawks. 4 seed Green Bay Packers. The 3 seed I got Arizona Cardinals. 2 seed Tampa Bay. 1 seed Washington Football Team.
Yeah, so my number 1 seed is I had the Buccaneers, Cowboys sitting at number 2, Packers at 3, 49ers at 4, Saints at 5, Rams at 6, and Cardinals at 7. So me and Combs are exact opposite of the Arizona Cardinals. He has them as the number 1 seed, and I had them just sneaking into the playoffs.
I think you're crazy. I don't see any scenario where the Cardinals aren't the best team in the NFC.
So
the Cardinals
spoiler,
are so good, man.
Spoiler alert here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams at 10-7 in the NFC.
Yeah, I've got let's see, what do I got? Sorry, I had to get back to my divisions here. 10-7. I don't know. I got 3 teams from each Western division in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
I've got I actually don't have any teams in the NFC at 10-7. Not one.
Really? Tori,
Nope.
What about you? Do you have any team
I
at
got-
10-7?
I got 2.
We don't care what you think, Tori, because your picks do not matter here on Man Hour. Combs is out.
Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Have a good night, guys. Good weekend. After show has started. Join us over there.